A very good morning to all participants and panelists. Venerable Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Founder President, Amity Education Group, an eminent educationist and inspirational leader, a visionary to the core, a true philanthropist, and a patriot. Dr. Atul Chauhan, Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Major General Rajiv Nanda, Sena Medal, Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gediok, Ati Bashir Seva Medal, Director General, Amity Institute of Defence Strategic Studies, Brigadier Anand Kumar Tiwari, Director, Amity Institute of Defence and Strategic Studies. Veterans from armed forces, dignitaries, chancellors, vice chancellor, pro-vice chancellors, HOIs, faculties, and student fraternities. The aim of today's virtual congregation is to observe Kargil Vijay Diwas. Kargil Vijay Diwas is a significant day in the history of India, observed on July 26th each year to commemorate the successful conclusion of the Kargil War in 1999. It is a day to pay tribute to the brave soldiers who sacrificed their lives and to honor the indomitable spirit and dedication to the Indian armed forces during the conflict. We will inaugurate the event with the welcome address by Brigadier Anand Kumar Tiwari, a fully accomplished, multi-domain, talented veteran and academician. He has 33 years of vast experience in educational administration. He is an expert on China. He did his PhD from University of Pune in Chinese geopolitics and recently published a very contemporary book, Chinese Geopolitics in the 21st Century, a Post-Pandemic Perspective. He has also been Chinese language interpreter, having immense experience in interaction with Chinese in border areas. He is recipient of the Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card. He now leads the AIDSS at Amity University, Noida as professor and director. May I now request Brigadier Anand Kumar Tiwari to kindly address us, please. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Devyani. A very good morning to all of you. Honorable Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Founder President, Amity Education Group, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Chancellor, Amity University, esteemed Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Dr. W. Selvamurthy, DG ASTIF, General S.K. Gediok, Ati Bashir Seva Medal, Major General Rajiv Nanda, Group Captain, D.K. Pandey, Colonel Rajan Bakshi, students, speakers, distinguished guests, veterans, all chancellors, vice chancellors, pro-VCs, HOIs, faculty, and student fraternity. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Dr. Balvinder Shukla, who has been a great inspiration for AIDSS and has taken out her valuable time for giving her address that will certainly encourage our students to participate in such a and encourage our students in such an event which invokes national pride. I also take this opportunity to welcome Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gediok, Ati Bashir Seva Medal, Director General AIDSS, ACDSA, Vice President ASTIF, Vice Chairman AIDT, and former Commandant DSSC, whose presence online and his constant guidance always enables us to perform in our peak proficiency. I welcome our guest speakers. First among them is Major General Rajiv Nanda, Sena Medal, former GOC in Rashtriya Rifle, and his deliverance from his experience will be of great help and immense value to all of us. Let me also welcome Group Captain D.K. Pandey, Senior Fellow, Center for Air Power Studies, who has expertise on air operation planning and execution. I welcome all our faculty, student speakers, as well as our learned audience, and hope that they will find this event an educating and enthusing one. Let me just speak something about today's occasion, being Kargil Divas, Vijay Divas. It is also known as Kargil Victory Day. It is an annual commemoration observed on this day of 26 July in India to honor the bravery and sacrifice of our armed forces during the Kargil War. This significant day makes the successful conclusion of armed conflict with Pakistan in 1999, wherein the Indian military recaptured the strategic positions in the Kargil district of Kargil of Jammu and Kashmir. And the victory symbolizes the indomitable spirits of and dedication of the Indian soldiers who displayed their unwavering courage and safeguarding the nation's territorial integrity. Now, the Indian Armed Forces, when they launched their operations in a massive military campaign, evicted the infiltrators and regained the control of occupied territories. During the Kargil War, there were innumerable stories of bravery which emerged, showcasing the true grit of Indian soldiers, from gallant solo attacks to act of camaraderie, sacrifices. Each tale exemplifies the dedication of duty and love for our motherland. The nation mourned the loss of several brave soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their motherland. And after weeks of fierce battle, India managed to recapture all the heights and occupied by which were occupied by Pakistani forces. And therefore, the final victory came on July 26th, which is commemorated today every year. The Kargil War of 99 is replete with numerous acts of bravery and valor displayed by Indian soldiers. Here are some of the heroic stories. There are so many heroes which emerged out of them. The foremost were Captain Vikram Batra. Then you have Grenadier Yogendra Singh Yadav. Then you have Lieutenant Manoj Kumar Pandey. All were Param Veer Chakra. Then you have from Air Force, to name a few, you have Flight Lieutenant K. Nachiketa, who received Vayu Sena Medal Gallantry. Then you have Captain Anuj Nair, Mahavir Chakra, and so many more. Taking names of each one may not be possible in the short time which we have today. So Kargil Vijay Divas is actually a day of pride, remembrance, gratitude for the heroes of Indian nation. It honors the heroism of our brave soldiers who selflessly laid down their lives for the country during the Kargil War. And this annual observance not only pays homage to the fallen soldiers, but also serves as source of inspiration for generations to come, reminding them of their unyielding spirit, resilience that defines the Indian Armed Forces. Therefore, today, without much delay, let me invite Ms. Devyani Sharma back to take the proceedings further and say a few words about our Honorable Vice Chancellor and invite her for her discourse and lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your welcome address. I will now briefly introduce the eminent personality, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, an outstanding administrator, a brilliant academician, a vivid researcher, and a far-sighted visionary. Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla is popularly known for her multifaceted insight, humility, and leadership skills. She is MTech from IIT Kharagpur and PhD from Queen's University, UK. She has been one of the key strategists instrumental in the exponential growth of Amity higher education. She is driven by innate passion, determination, perseverance, and enormous compassion. Her keen areas of interest lie in promoting entrepreneurship, corporate social responsibility, and industry academia collaboration. Her contributions are widely acclaimed and recognized with prestigious national and international honors and awards. May I now request Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, our Vice Chancellor, to kindly address the audience, please. Please, ma'am.
Most respected Honorable Founder President, sir, Honorable Chancellor, sir, a very special our very special member of the team, Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gadhokji, our HOI Brigadier Anand Kumar Tiwari ji, and Colonel Rajan Bakshi ji, and all the participants, faculty members, the stewards, and I take this unique opportunity to convey my deep gratitude to our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan ji, the Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan ji, and Dr. Gadhok ji for organizing this very important occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas, and I extend very warm welcome to Major General Rajiv Nanda ji and Group Captain Dinesh Kumar Pandey ji, and all the dignitaries. As we all are gathered online to observe Kargil Divas, let us take a moment to reflect on monumental events that unfolded during the Kargil War of 1999. It was a war that tested the mettle of our armed forces and showcased their unparalleled courage and dedication. It was very difficult terrain where the soldiers of Pakistan were on top of the hill, whereas our armed forces had to attack on the enemies from the lower level, which were the very toughest. And but it was the unparalleled courage of our soldiers who have fought untirelessly, and within the 2 months, the Kargil war was over, and in that intense combat, uh, um, uh, in the treacherous mountains of the Kargil sector of Jammu and Kashmir, where the enemy infiltrated and occupied India's strategic position, and which posed a grave threat to the nation. Uh, uh, Indian Army during this war launched the Operation Vijay to capture the strategic posts back, which were occupied by the infiltrators. Our soldiers displayed exemplary valor and unwavering determination as they pushed back and captured the uh, terrain back. It's also very important to remember that this war resulted in the loss of many precious lives, and the sacrifices made by our soldiers were immense, and we must always honor their memory. And it was such a momentous occasion this morning when we saw our Raksha Mantri, at the Kargil and interacting with the soldiers and the locals. It was such a momentous occasion for all all the Indians to salute all the heroes, all those soldiers who lost their life. And we should remember not only their sacrifices, but we should be always grateful to them that if we are free and it's only because of their sacrifices. We know 527 brave soldiers, uh, they made the ultimate sacrifice while many others were injured, and we know that uh, our own the natives of Noida were also who sacrificed their lives. Uh, Kargil War also highlighted the strength and resilience of our nation. The entire country came together, united in the support of our armed forces, and all the citizens from all the walks of life extended their support, contributing to the relief funds, sending letters of encouragement to soldiers, and organizing various initiatives to boost their morale. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of our people and their unwavering commitment to the ideas of patriotism and national unity. It's very important as an academic institution, um, and as the vision of our honorable founder president and a commitment to the of our honorable founder president to the nation building, and where we have lost the many programs which are related to the defense, whether it's the Amity Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies, whether it's the Amity Institute of Technology, where defense technologies programs at master's level and the bachelor levels are introduced, as well as that. Thankful to Lieutenant General S.K. Gadihokti for signing several MOUs with the defense establishments, and also having introducing the largest doctoral program in the country, and for the working defense force officers. And our honorable founder president's commitment is that through education, through research and innovation, we contribute to the nation building, and it's particularly in the defense sector, how we can contribute to research education. And I'm very happy that we have such a great stalwarts in Amity University. The Amity University has always believed, our honorable founder president always ensured the brightest minds of the defense forces are part of the Amity family at the strategic positions, whether it is the late Major General KJ Singh, was the first member of the Amity education family who worked closely with the Honorable Founder President, and who became later the first founding vice chancellor of this university. And so many people, and especially with respect to the defense studies, defense research, and defense technology, I'm extremely thankful to Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gandhi, and also Lieutenant General K.M. Sethji, who also not only as the chairman of our governing board earlier, and also even now, he immensely helps and contributes in this area. So, so therefore, on this very special day, we must also express our gratitude to the families of our soldiers who sacrificed their life. And we know that they had endured immense pain and the loss of their dear ones, but their unwavering support and sacrifice have been instrumental in strengthening the resolve of our armed forces. And lastly, I would like to conclude that on this solemn occasion of Kargil Divas, Let us remember the bravery and the sacrifices of our soldiers, and let us together pledge to preserve their legacy and work together, building a peaceful and prosperous nation. We have seen that since the Kargil war, how our Honorable Prime Minister has focusing on Make in India, developing the manufacturing the defense instruments in the country, but at the same time purchasing, procuring the very sophisticated, the defense equipments from across the globe, whether it is from US, whether it's from France or from Russia and other countries, to strengthen our armed forces. And I think that together we can ensure that their sacrifices of our armed forces was not in vain, and that their memory remain etched in our hearts forever, and we together work through education, through research and innovation in the nation building, and realize the vision of our Honorable Founder President, that we not only be the self-reliant nation in all aspects, but also we together make this world a better place to live, which our Honorable Chancellor always envisions for this world. So with this, once again, I congratulate our Amity Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies under the great leadership of Dr. Tiwari and our Director General, Lieutenant General Gadhok, for leading this institutional front. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, esteemed Vice Chancellor, for your passionate discourse inspiring us on the solemn occasion of Kargil Divas. I shall now briefly introduce to you Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gadhok, Ati Vashya Seva Medal, Director General of Amity Institute of Defense Strategic Studies, and Amity Center of Defense and Strategic Analysis, Vice President, Amity Science, Technology and Innovation Foundation, Vice Chairman, Amity Institute of Defense Technology. He was commissioned into Indian Army on 11 July 1977. He is an alumnus of NDA Khadakwasla and IMA Dehradun. He did MSc, MPhil Defense Studies and Diploma in Senior Level Defense Management, and done his doctorate in Defense and Strategic Studies from University of Madras. During his distinguished career, he served 2 presidents as ADC. Graduated from Defense Service Staff College, Wellington, commanded a Guards unit, an armored brigade, and a division. Besides many staff and command appointment, he served as logistic advisor to Botswana Defense Force at Gaborone, Botswana in Africa. He was specifically selected by Chief as Commandant, Defense Service Staff College, Wellington in 2014, where he received many national awards. He is decorated with AVSM for his distinguished service, beside being awarded 2 Chief of Army Staff Commendation cards. Now I would request Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gadhok to deliver the special address, please. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Divyani, for the very kind introduction. And I would also take this opportunity in primaries today, this morning, to thank the Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Amity Education Group, as also the very kind words spoken by Vice Chancellor, who seems not only to be impassioned today, but I must inform all of you that, in fact, the Director and HOI AID SS Brigadier Tiwari knows it, because he interacts with her very frequently. She has a tremendous, in fact, I shall say a stupendous zest and zeal for getting involved in all armed force multifaceted activities. And towards that, I think she deserves a very special applause today. Besides the heroes who are there in the pantheon of the brave intrepid gallery of Kargil. Today, this morning, I would like to firstly pay my salutations to Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, who's our founder president, Dr. Atul Chauhan, the Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, esteemed Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and of course to General Rajiv Nanda, Sena Medal, and Group Captain Dinesh Kumar Pandey, who's also done his doctorate at CAPS, Ms. Diksha Jain, Mr. Akshat Singh, both students from MAIDSS, Brigadier Tiwari, a Professor, Director, AIDSS, Dr. Rajan Bakshi, Director, ACDSA, AIET, are very worthy colleagues, distinguished guests, veterans who are there today attending, and the Chancellor, Vice Chancellors, Pro VCs, HOIs, and of course, our very dear faculty and student fraternity. Today, ladies and gentlemen, on this 23rd anniversary of KARGIL VIJAY DIWAS, which is being observed on 26th of July, we all from the armed forces, and I should say every citizen of the country, does get very emotive, because we won KARGIL in just about a matter of 2 months to commemorate this victory of Indian soldiers over the Pakistani troops and terrorists, which will eternally thunder in the firmament of war heroes for generations to come, to perpetuate the pristine glory. Russia is, I think, as of today, 511 days, if I'm not mistaken, against Ukraine. The Indians, whenever they fight, our armed forces, we never fight for more than 14 to 15 to 20 days, let alone an aberration of 62 and the 47, 48, when the country came into being and we were shaping our contours of destiny. The sinister aim, ladies and gentlemen, perpetrated by Pakistan has to be understood. It was nothing but to cut off Leh-Srinagar highway and internationalize the Kashmir issue, which they've been doing very unfortunately, unsuccessfully. They clandestinely infiltrated, violating the sovereign territorial integrity of India, entrenched themselves on the Indian soil, on those dizzy heights, and built defenses with military logistic supply chains to thwart the Indian counter-offensive. But they, of course, they expected that very soon India would have them sorted out. So they got entrenched with the help of Pakistan Army, and this all was designed by no one else than late General Parvez Musharraf, the late President of Pakistan. The Kargil conflagration between India and Pakistan, it occurred in May 99 with high-intensity mountain warfare operations for, like I said, 60 days till 26th of July, eventually proclaiming Indian Army victorious, supported by the valiant Indian Air Force. The local shepherds in the Kargil district first reported the presence of these infiltrators in the regions near Ladakh in J&K on 3rd of May in 1999, with the aim of cutting off the Leh-Srinagar highway, as I just mentioned. The patrolling was initiated in the suspected and occupied areas. Now, this was detected. I won't say it wasn't. The vigilante, in fact, must be complimented for that. However, as the report later mentioned, that it should have been detected at a much earlier stage when there was certain vestige of movement in those heights by these shepherds. Later in May, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan started shelling India with a strategy to actively engage Indian soldiers in the fight so that Pakistani troops could launch these multiple attacks inside the Indian territory. Now, the Indian Army retaliated with Pak heavy shelling used by the infiltrators to simultaneously attack Daras, Mashko, and Kaksha sectors. The fight was very hostile, as you all know, and you would have seen, and also a movie which was made by Mr. Datta, that was the LOC, in which it was very beautifully illustrated, the brave, intrepid soldiers of Indian Army, as well as the excellent bombardment done by the Indian Air Force, as the Pakistani soldiers and terrorists established themselves in the key dominating heights and locations of the region. Now, the Pakistan Army disclaimed it. They weren't able to digest that the Indian Army retaliated swiftly, immediately, with tremendous amount of tenacity and ferocity. Now, all these Kashmiri so-called freedom fighters, which was sent in by Pakistan, is all falsehood and balderdash. Let me tell you, it's incorrect. It was all supported by the Pakistan army and all terrorists, because when the bodies were found, before they were consigned, in fact, to cremation as a mark of respect to soldiers by the Indian Armed Forces, well, all the identification was shown, in fact, not only on the television, but also on the newsprint, that they were all from various regions of Pakistan. They were terrorists and from Pak Army. Now, the adverse environmental conditions, like the mountainous terrain, cold weather, extreme high altitudes, provided strategic advantages actually to the Pakistan Armed Forces. And our brave soldiers, as usual, they were briefed very well. We carried out our strategic planning. The tactical maneuvers, which are very necessary in high altitudes, were rehearsed very well. And on 4th of July, after 11 hours of valiant fight, the Indian Army captured Tiger Hill. And on the next day, Daras fell, indomitable courage, unstoppable spirit, and invincibility, overwhelming ferocity, like I said, ushered victory and a big breakthrough in Kargil conflict, with young officers, JCOs, and Janbaz forces performing ruthlessly with killer's instincts. As was mentioned by Brigadier Tiwari, all the names given by him were given the highest awards and the next highest awards, so as to recognize their valor in battle, in frontline combat. Now, later on 5th July, Pakistan announced the withdrawal as they could not take it anymore, and the troops pulled out on 11th of July. The code name given to the entire operation by the Indian Armed Forces was Operation Vijay. And 14th July, the then Prime Minister, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, announced the success attained by the Indian soldiers and the unprecedented valor which was gained in the annals of Indian warfare. This, the intrepidity and heroism, was steadfastness which won the war against Pakistan, ending on 26th of July. The Indian Air Force acted very well. In fact, the morale boosted when the buffer guns started blasting the Pakistani positions, and Operation Safed Sagar was undertaken, blasting all these locations, and the bombardment was incessant, contributing to fine, multi-dimensional firepower to neutralize and devastate the enemy. Now, I can tell you one thing, that the Kargil War was one of the greatest conflicts fought in the spectrum of warfare. Aggressive actions, dangerous heights, Indian Army stood test first, and it shows the training given to the soldiers and the leadership, junior leadership. India was victorious. We lost, as the Madam Vice Chancellor said, 527 courageous men, and 1,363 people were injured. They were all wounded, but the brave sacrifice by our Janbaz, their fortitude, tenacity, and resilience to capture every inch of Indian territory did not go in vain. I must tell you that before we salute the bravest of the braves, I'm talking of only 4 people, as the other have been mentioned by Brigadier Tiwari and also by the lady. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar, whom I met, Grenadier Yogendra Singh Yadav, with whom I interacted and interviewed, Lieutenant Manoj Kumar Pandey, and Captain Vikram Batra. Latter both were posthumous, ladies and gentlemen. Well, of course, having met the former 2 and not these 2, I would like to meet them in heaven whenever I say goodbye to this planet, as I would be very fortunate to meet the bravest of the brave. All those who fight for their motherland under sterling leadership of the commanders cannot be. Indian Army built the Kargil War Memorial in Daras in Tololing Hill foothills 5 kilometers from the city center across Tiger Hill, which commemorates the martyrs. I must make a word in fact, which is very important because strategically, as there was a KARGIL review committee established by the government of India on 29th of July, 3 days after the war, to examine the sequence of events and make their recommendations. And the Prime Minister was submitted the report on 7th of January 2000. Over 100 senior military officers, civil service, and intelligence officials, politicians, including former Prime Minister, diplomats, and journalists, were interviewed by the committee over 5 months and tabled in the Parliament on 23rd of February 2000. I must tell you that the KRC recommendations was for the group of ministers and task forces to review the Indian security system in the interests of national security. And the government of India accepted most of the recommendations of the KARGIL Review Committee, and it led to paradigmatic changes in the security matrix of India. I wish all the families, all the people who took part in the KARGIL operations the best of luck and the best of times ahead. May divine providence and the wisdom of power prevail upon them and their families, and upon every Indian who pledges by blood and honor to abide by his country, so that we fight and fight unto death. Please remember, we all have to abide by our country, now, in future, and forever. Har Maidan Fateh, Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and most grateful to you, sir, for your educative talk on Kargil operation, which has highlighted and given us a fine perspective on the Kargil war. Before I request Major General Rajiv Nanda, Sena Medal, former JOC of Rashtriya Rifle Forces, to deliver the address, I will briefly introduce him. Major General Rajiv Nanda, Sena Medal, was commissioned into Punjab Regiment in December 1985. He has attended prestigious courses at Defence Service Staff College and College of Defence Management, Secunderabad. In 37 years of military career, he has tenanted important command, staff, and instructional appointments. He has rich operational experience and has commanded a battalion, brigade, and division, all as part of Rashtriya Rifles in Jammu and Kashmir. He has also served as Deputy Inspector General in Assam Rifles in Nagaland on the rank of Brigadier. His last appointment before retirement was in the Directorate General of Recruitment, and prior that he was Major General Administration for Headquarter Northern Command in Jammu and Kashmir. He has served as Major and Lieutenant Colonel in Military Secretary Branch and as a Director in the Chief of Army Staff Secretariat. Among his instructional appointment, and he has been an instructor in the Infantry School, Maho, and Head of Faculty at College of Defence Management. He has been part of 3 Union missions in Mozambique, Angola, and Congo. May I request Major General Rajiv Nanda to kindly give his illuminating address, please. Please, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Devyani. Respected Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Honorable Founder President of the MET Education Group, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Chancellor, MET University, Uttar Pradesh, Dr. Balwinder Shukla, the Vice Chancellor of the MET University, Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gadiok, AVSM, Director General of AIDSS and ACDSA, the members of the faculty, and dear students. First of all, I'd like to thank the Honorable Founder President for giving me this opportunity to be part of the celebrations on the occasion of the VIJAY DIWAS of the MET Education Group. In the next 15 minutes that I've been allotted, I'll be briefly covering the terrain part and also the overall operations from both Pakistan and India side, and also how the nation as a whole, like the Vice Chancellor also brought out, it was a driving force from all corners, whether it was the common citizen or the armed forces. They all came together to fight this war, and how what were the lessons that we all achieved, both as the country and also for the Pakistan. I'll be briefly covering. Now, coming to the topic that has been allotted today, July 26, 1999 will go down in the annals of the Indian history as a day when the determined Indian forces achieved a glorious victory over the Pakistan army in the Kargil war, also called the Operation Vijay. True to its character, despite having to pay a heavy price for fighting a war within its own territory, the Indian forces left no stone unturned to ensure that not even a single Pakistani soldier remained on the Indian soil. With the backing of the Indian Air Force, the Indian Army achieved a feat which would be hard for any of the armies around the world to match. Kargil War may be viewed against the background of signing of the Lahore Declaration by the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee in Feb of 1999. Now, this historic initiative clearly indicated India's willingness and determination to resolve its differences with Pakistan through a process of dialogue and confidence-building measures. However, Pakistan intrusion in Kargil was a betrayal of trust. Even while accepting India's extended hand of leadership in Lahore, Pakistan was planning its clandestine, unprovoked, full-scale intrusion across the line of control. Kargil War will also go down as a landmark operation, one that proved beyond doubt the mettle and the resoluteness of the Indian Armed Forces in guarding the sanctity of the nation frontiers. Fought at the dizzy heights in harsh weather and the rugged terrain, the valor and dedication of the gallant Jawan, led by their competent officer cadre, turned a seemingly disadvantageous situation into an outstanding victory. Now, our ambassador to the US that time, Naresh Chandra, narrates beautiful impressions of a US general. And to quote the ambassador, he says, the general, Mr. Ambassador, what I've heard and read about the operation, I don't mind admitting that my marine officer will not do what your boys have done. Scaling heights only to be shot, seeing their colleagues fall and still going by rope and climbing, knowing that 75 to 80% you are going to be shot. And if you reach on top, you have to be ready for hand-to-hand combat. What this boy did, I don't think the ordinary public will understand. Unquote. The refusal to accept the direct involvement of the Pakistani regular forces robbed its soldiers of the honor and respect their countrymen owed to them. While the rationality of the decision to bring war to the doorsteps of Pakistan can be debated, there cannot be another view on the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides of the LC. On the Indian side, Kargil united the country and brought the collective strength of the people to the fore. In contrast, predictably, its aftermath reflected a mix of frustration, betrayal, and helplessness across the border. Now, I'll briefly cover the terrain part, because some of the features will keep figuring during various presentations by the other panelists. Now, Kargil is located at a distance of approximately 200 kilometers from either side, that is Srinagar and also Leh. Muslims constitute about 80% of the population of the Kargil district, and most of them are Shias. The Kargil sector extends 168 kilometers along the LC from the Great Himalayan Range towards the Srinagar side to the Ladakh Range towards the Leh side. Now, Siachen Glacier starts where the Kargil sector ends. The area is mountainous, with its heights varying from 12,000 feet to 21,000 feet. Now, the valley bases are as high as 10,000 to 11,000 feet. The vertical cliffs rise up to 1,000 feet at places, and the ridge lines are razor sharp, which inhibit the move and makes the going extremely difficult. Besides, high altitude conditions and rarefied atmosphere also take the toll on the troops and the equipment. Now, the Kargil sector divides itself into 5 subsectors, which are given in the colored: the Dras, Kaksar, Kargil, Patalik, and Chor Batla. The National Highway 1 Alpha is open from mid-June to mid-November, depending on the severity of the winters and the status of the Zojila Pass, which is the only pass from this side. It runs parallel to LC from Dras to Kargil at a distance of just about 5 to 15 kilometers. Now, once Zojila Pass is closed, the road link to Kargil Glacier and Leh is totally cut off and can only be maintained by air. Now, during that time, there were a large number of posts, especially in Dras, Batalik, and Chor Batla, that were totally cut off during the winter months from November to May each year. And the troops were pulled back as per the agreement unofficially, back from such locations as these were considered not feasible to be held. However, all important passes, due to their strategic importance, were never vacated. Now, the Pakistan intentions are what were their operations in Kargil. I'll briefly cover that. The Kargil conflict must be seen in the larger context of Pakistan's antagonism towards India and the policies that flow from it. Pakistan leadership and military have always considered Kashmir as an unfinished agenda of partition and have shown fanatical zeal to integrate Jammu and Kashmir within its own boundaries. It was also an outcome of Pakistan's compulsion when faced by a conventionally superior adversary and its failure to achieve desired strategic objectives. This led to Pakistan employing terrorism as an instrument of state policy as part of its hybrid war. However, by the late 90s, the momentum of militancy had begun to slow down. It is said that the plan of intrusion was the brainchild of Pakistan Chief of the Army Staff, General Pervez Musharraf, and also Lieutenant General Mohammad Aziz, the Chief of General Staff. Only an in-principle concurrence was obtained from the other Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif without giving any specifics. The nickname given by Pakistan to its operation in Kargil is Operation Badr. Now, this was launched with a political aim to test our threshold, create a situation which will enable negotiating Kashmir from a position of strength with a larger aim of internationalization of the Kashmir issue being central to the planning of Kargil misadventure by Pakistan. As far as the military aim is concerned, it was to cut off the road Srinagar-Leh, thereby creating a crisis situation for India, altering the status of LC for strategic and territorial gains, and ensuring revival of insurgency in the valley and also in the state of J&K. Now, not wanting to pit its army against India, the Pakistan army leadership decided to go in for a grandiose plan to cut off the Ladakh region by capturing those areas which were annealed. As a prelude, the shelling of the Kargil town started from the summer of 1998 to March 99. And this was to test the Indian reaction. Physical occupation of these peaks in this area took place somewhere around March, April 1999, when the snow levels on the watershed were relatively low. Since Pakistan was reluctant to have its regular identified in the initial stages, it resorted to the troops of Northern Light Infantry regiments being employed en masse, with Pakistani regular officers providing the leadership. The enemy was well entrenched, as brought out by General Gadayok also, and were in possession of artillery guns, anti-aircraft guns, and the very potent man-portable shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles. However, Pakistan calculations went wrong on nearly all the counts, and after the earlier gains that it found itself floundering and directionless, the humiliation it underwent in the international fora resulted in a big loss of face for him. Later, the democratically elected government was overthrown by the military and the army took over the country. Now, as far as our response was concerned, as I brought out earlier, that it was a whole of nation approach. Now, initially, the Pakistan intrusion in the Kargil sector came as a complete surprise to the Indian government, the military agencies, and also the intelligence. However, once given a clear mandate by the government, the respective services overcame their initial hiccups of coordination and got down to detailed planning and execution of the offensive operations. The Indian Army built up its strength to launch a series of well-planned attacks where infantry supported by the RT physically evicted the well-entrenched enemy hill feature by hill feature in the high-altitude terrain, pushing them back towards the LC. Now, the intrusions were detected by the Indian Army between 3rd May to 12th May. And from 15th May to 25th May, the military operations were planned. By 30th of June, a major high altitude offensive against Pakistan post commenced. The first major ridgeline to fall was Tololing in the Dras subsector, which was captured after several weeks of fighting. In the direct fighting role were the 155 mm Bofors and 105 mm field guns that destroyed all visible Sanghas and forced them to abandon various positions. Now, the Tololing capture facilitated capture of Tiger Hill on 4th of July and thereafter point 4875. Now, point 4875 is also known as the Gun Hill in honor of the astounding performance of the gunners in the Dras and Mashko subsectors. The terrain in the Batalik subsector was much tougher and the enemy was far more strongly entrenched. Once again, artillery played a crucial role in destroying the enemy's battalion and logistics infrastructure. It is said that during the Kargil operation, such type of high rates of fire over long periods had not been witnessed anywhere in the world since the Second World War. Eventually, on 11th July, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif announced that they still continue to believe that it were the militants who would withdraw, and India gave them until July 16 to do so. Now, these operations will be discussed in detail by the other panelists. As far as the Indian Air Force operations are concerned, this is the first time that the Indian Air Force fought a limited war, which hitherto thought to be an unlikely eventuality because as a air power and escalation to an all-out war were thought to be synonymous. Operation Safed Sagar, as the name given to it, was therefore a turning point in the history of military aviation and an operation that will no doubt be discussed for the years to come. These operations are also going to be discussed by the other panelists. As far as the Indian Navy operations are concerned, under Operation Talwar, the Eastern Fleet joined the Western Naval Fleet and blocked the Arabian Sea routes of the Pakistan. The blockade was so intense that later the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif accepted or disclosed that Pakistan was left with just 6 days of fuel to sustain itself in case a full-fledged war had broken out. This was envisaged as the largest ever amassing of naval ships in the region. Thus, Indian Navy played a pivotal role during the Kargil War. Now, coming to another important instrument was the role of media. The element that emerged as a decisive determinant was the ability of India and Pakistan to steer their strategic communication of the media. The factor became a critical element of the subcontinent's first televised conflict. Connectivity and communication played an important role in shaping the perceptions at the number of levels from the armed forces within both the countries, the domestic population, the international audience, and also the adversary. This was especially true on the Indian side, where the media went as close as possible to the combat zone, and this worked to the advantage of India's media campaign. The lack of transparency and contradictory nature of information resulted in Pakistan losing the battle of perceptions. Another major role played was by the international opinion. One major achievement was that despite suffering from a range of sanctions that were imposed on India after the 1998 nuclear test, the international opinion rallied around India during this Kargil operation. Even Pakistan's all-weather ally, China, remained completely neutral throughout the conflict. US played a major role in diffusing the crisis, culminating with President Clinton, his no-nonsense talk on 4th of July, which happens to be the America's Independence Day, with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, which left no option for the Prime Minister but to agree to the withdrawal of troops across the LC. This combined impact of India's military victories and the diplomatic finesse led to capitulation of the Pakistan leadership. Now, some important lessons for both the countries. Now, Kargil remains a lesson in what went right. However, it is also a lesson for what can be done better through enhanced integration and closer cohesion to ultimately ensure collective ownership of national security. India confirmed its belief that Pakistan is a reckless, adventuristic, risk-acceptant, untrustworthy state. Colonel Gurmeet Kanwal has stated that India's problem in Kashmir will remain until Pakistan's rogue army is tamed. Now, till the time the democracy takes root in Pakistan, Indo-Pak problems will remain irreconcilable. Now, for Pakistan, the most important lesson learned from Kargil is that such operations are not an effective means for advancing its strategic interest, as it failed to force a strategic or even a limited territorial advantage. Also, Kashmir is a political situation that requires a diplomatic rather than a military solution. However, there is a second common opinion in Pakistan that the Kargil was a tactical success but a strategic failure. And as far as President Musharraf was concerned, he claimed victory and continued with the ongoing hybrid war in J&K subsequently. Post-Kargil, Pakistan employed a calibrated and coordinated policy of subversion and terrorism against India. With the initial exception of attacks against politically sensitive targets such as Indian Parliament, which led to the Operation Parakram, Pakistan kept the threshold below the level that might provoke a military response. However, the balance was severely tested after the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. Emboldened by the absence of strong military reaction, the metamorphosis into a classical hybrid war, with terrorism and information technology being the basis of Pakistan's strategy of retaining the initiative against India. As far as India is concerned, one big lesson learned in Kargil is that we cannot afford to lower our guard, and it has further reinforced the Indian commitment to be a more robust forward defense and to improve its logistic and intelligence capabilities to prevent future Pakistani nefarious designs. Last 2-3 days, the social group is full of the messages from various officers who have been part of this Kargil operation, and they have been sharing their experiences and also remembering the brethren who we lost during the Kargil war. And it has been rightly said that Kargil was not a war, but a very, very emotional moment. I totally second the sentiments expressed by General Gadio. We remember all the foreign heroes who laid down their lives for the sanctity, to protect the sanctity of the country. Thank you once again. Jai Hind, Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your detailed coverage of Kargil operation, which has been extremely thought-provoking and interesting for all of us. Now I invite our PG student Diksha Jain from AIDSS, who is delivering a talk on the war heroes of Kargil. Diksha, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very good afternoon to all the panelists. On the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas, I'm going to talk about the heroes of the Kargil War. On July 26th each year, we observe Kargil Vijay Diwas to pay tribute to the brave soldiers who fought in the Kargil War. During this conflict, India successfully expelled the Pakistani intruders and recaptured several forts, including Tiger Hill as part of Operation Vijay. The fight lasted for over 60 days in Kargil, located in Ladakh. Today, we honor the memory of the Indian soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the war initiated by Pakistan. Numerous events are organized throughout the country to acknowledge the valuable contributions of the Indian Armed Forces. This presentation lets us explore the remarkable tales of India's 10 war heroes whose extraordinary courage and bravery will forever be a source of pride. Their larger-than-life stories are filled with bravery, courage, and unwavering enthusiasm. Captain Vikram Batra. Captain Vikram Batra was born in Palampur on September 9, 1974. He began his journey in the military by joining the Manekshaw Battalion at the Indian Military Academy in June 1996. Upon graduating on December 6, 1997, he became a lieutenant in the 13th Battalion, Jammu and Kashmir Rifles. Captain Vikram Batra's brave and valiant spirit in the Kargil War earned him national recognition. His famous war cry, "Ye Dil Mange More," became synonymous with his unwavering courage and dedication to his country's safety. The world watched in awe as he held the enemy's captured machine guns, displaying his unwavering bravery in the adversity. Captain Vikram Batra was posthumously awarded India's highest gallantry honor, the Paramveer Chakra. He was dubbed the Tiger of Brass, Lion of Kargil, and Kargil Hero. Interestingly, Pakistanis named him Sher Shah after the fierce warrior king of the medieval India. Grenadier Yogendra Singh Yadav. Born on May 10, 1980, at Sikandrabad, he was the sole survivor of an attack on Tiger Hill in which he took 15 bullets. He was a part of the Ghatak platoon that recaptured 3 strategic bunkers on Tiger Hill on July 4, 1999. Yadav led the assault but faced unrelenting fire from the Pakistani side, killing many of his colleagues. He was hit by several bullets that rendered his left arm immobile. Yet he was determined to achieve his objective. He strapped the belt around his arm and wrapped a bandana around his leg to prepare for the fight against the enemy. In close combat, he managed to kill 4 enemy soldiers and silence the automatic fire. His bravery allowed his platoon to climb the cliff and capture the enemy's position. He received the Paramveer Chakra at 19, becoming one of the 3 youngest people to have received the award. During an interview with DD National, Yogendra Singh Yadav said, "A soldier is like a selfless lover. With this unconditional love comes determination. And for this love for his nation, his regiment, and his fellow soldiers, a soldier doesn't think twice before risking his life." Lieutenant Manoj Kumar Pandey. Manoj Kumar Pandey, born on June 25, 1975 in Uttar Pradesh, was commissioned in the Gorkha Rifles. During the conflict, his mission was to clear the enemy positions in Khalubar to protect his unit from being exposed in the open. A brave leader, he fearlessly led his crew up a cliff despite being shot on a ledge. He valiantly destroyed enemy fortifications before succumbing to gunfire. His courage ultimately resulted in the capture of Khalubar. His father shared that his son had joined the Indian Army with the singular goal of receiving the highest gallantry award, the Paramveer Chakra, which he was posthumously awarded. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar was born in March 1976 in Kalol, Baken, Himachal Pradesh. He is the youngest of the Indian Army's 3 surviving Paramveer Chakra recipients. During Operation Vijay, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar was the leading scout of a company of 13 Chakras for the capture of area Flat Top on July 4, 1999 in Musko Valley. Having scaled the cliff, he came under effective enemy fire from a bunker. In the ensuing hand-to-hand combat, he killed 3 intruders and was severely injured. The brave action on his part motivated his comrades to charge onto the enemy and capture the area Flat Top. For exhibiting an act of indomitable courage and gallantry of the highest order, he was awarded the Paramveer Chakra. Lieutenant Balwant Singh. In October 1973, Lieutenant Balwant Singh was born in Sasauli, Haryana. On July 3, 1999, he led his Ghatak platoon to attack Tiger Hill from the northeastern direction as part of a multi-pronged attack. Lieutenant Singh was known as the Tiger of the Tiger Hill for his bravery and courage. Despite being severely injured, he managed to kill 4 enemy soldiers in the ensuing close battle. The remaining Pakistani soldiers chose to flee rather than face the wrath of the brave Indian officer. Lieutenant Singh successfully placed the Indian tricolor atop Tiger Hill, and for his gallantry, he was later awarded the Mahavir Chakra. Major Rajesh Singh Adhikari. He was born in December 1970 in Nainital. At the Tololing feature, he led a group 10-man squad aiming to capture a bunker situated at 16,000 feet. He demonstrated remarkable courage by engaging in direct combat with Pakistani soldiers, holding the bunkers and successfully recapturing Tololing. Sadly, Major Adhikari suffered severe bullet wounds and passed away on May 15 while stationed beyond the enemy line. His body was discovered 13 days later with an unread letter from his wife in his pocket. He was posthumously awarded the Mahavir Chakra as a tribute to his bravery. Naik Digendra Kumar. He was born on July 1969 in Sikar, Rajasthan. Regarded as the Cobra of the Kargil, he was the commander of the light machine gun group during his company's assault on the toiling feature in Dras sector. Objective was to capture a well-fortified enemy position. On June 13, 1999, when the assault group was nearing its objective, it came under effective enemy fire from well-concealed universal machine guns. A bullet hit Naik Digendra Kumar in his left arm. Undaunted and unmindful of his injury, he kept firing with one hand, bringing down effective and accurate light machine gun fire on the enemy. His real fire kept the enemy's head down while his men advanced towards the objective. Finally, under his effective covering fire, his troops physically assaulted the enemy position and cleared it after a fierce hand-to-hand fight. Despite being seriously wounded, it was due to his courageous action that the assault group would finally capture the objective. Naik Digendra Kumar displayed conspicuous gallantry, courage, and grit in the face of the enemy. He was awarded the Mahavir Chakra in 1999, India's second highest military honor for his bravery and leadership. Captain Keshing Clifford Nongram. He was born in Shillong, Meghalaya in March 1975. He was commissioned in the Indian Army on 5 September 1997 in the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. Captain Nongram was tasked to lead the assault team to capture point 4812 in the Batalik sector. He set off with his troops, assault the feature from the southeastern direction. He led his column over the near impossible vertical cliff feature. Captain Nongram and his resolute squad just went on to do the challenging task and made the ascent steadily yet stealthily to get to the enemy shelters at the top. On reaching the top, his column faced strong opposition from the enemy forces as they were well entrenched in the interconnected positions carved out of boulders and could not be attacked even by the artillery fire. Undeterred, he threw grenades at them and killed 6 enemy soldiers, even though it could have endangered him. He then tried to steal the enemy's universal machine gun from the second position but was shot. Nevertheless, he continued to fight bravely until he succumbed to his injury. He was posthumously awarded the Mahavir Chakra for his outstanding bravery. Captain N. Kangaroos. In July 1974, in the Kohima district of Nagaland, brave officer led a commando unit to attack a well-positioned enemy machine gun position on a cliff face. The position was causing significant interference with the battalion's primary target, and heavy mortar and automatic fire began as they scaled the cliff. Unfortunately, the unit suffered heavy losses and a splinter injured the officer in the abdomen, causing severe bleeding. Despite his injuries, he urged his men to continue the attack. His bravery and determination enabled him to single-handedly neutralize the enemy's position, allowing the battalion to advance. He was posthumously awarded the Mahavir Chakra. Major Vivek Gupta. On June 13, 1999, Major Vivek Gupta, who hailed from Dehradun, led the Charlie Company during a battalion attack on trawling top in the Dras sector. The mission aimed to counter the intrusion from Pakistan, and Major Gupta was commanding a risky mountain attack. Despite facing enemy gunfire, he managed to take over 2 bunkers. However, he sustained fatal injuries that led to his death in Dras. Major Gupta's bravery and sacrifice were recognized, and he was posthumously awarded the Mahavir Chakra. It's worth noting that he received this award precisely 7 years after being commissioned in the 2nd Rajputana Rifles. Major Gupta exemplified true valor throughout his service, and his contributions to the nation will always be remembered. To sum up my presentation, I would just say that the Kargil War is a poignant reminder of the unmatched bravery, courage, and valor displayed by the Indian soldiers during the conflict. On Kargil Vijay Divas, we pay tribute to the selfless heroes who fought with unwavering enthusiasm to safeguard their homeland. As we honor these brave soldiers, let us remember their unparalleled contribution and sacrifices for the greater good. Their heroism, serves as a beacon of hope and a reminder that the spirit of courage and valor resides within every Indian, ready to be awakened in service of the motherland. On this solemn day, we salute the brave Indian soldiers who fought in the Kargil War and bow our heads in gratitude for their exemplary bravery, courage, and valor. Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha, for your captivating talk on War Heroes of Kargil. Now I invite you all to witness a documentary highlighting the Kargil operations. May I request the coordinator to play the video, please?
उन जानिसारों, जांबाजों, शहीदों और मुहाफिजों को सलाम है, सलाम, जिन्होंने
उनका क्षत विक्षत शव पाकिस्तानी सेना ने हमें सौंपा। जिस निर्दयता से उन्हें मारा गया था, प्रशिक्षित पाकिस्तानी फौजियों की ही कुचेष्टा थी। तत्कालीन प्रधान ऐ सरजमीन हिंदुस्तान, तेरे उन जानिसारों, जांबाजों, शहीदों और मुहाफिजों को सलाम है, सलाम है, सलाम है, जिन्होंने अपनी बहादुरी की कलम से फतह की एक और बेमिसाल तारीख लिख दी। गवाह है आज भी कारगिल की वो बुलंद चोटियां, जिनको तुमने अपने लहू से सींचकर तिरंगे की आन, बान और शान को रोशन कर दिया। सन 1999 पड़ोसी मुल्क पाकिस्तान ने बगैर किसी आभास के अपने सैनिकों को एलओसी पार कर भारत की सीमा के अंदर भेज दिया। जनरल परवेज मुशर्रफ। जनरल का प्लान सीधा और साफ था। सर्दियों की चरम पर प्रशिक्षित कमांडोज को जिहादी जामा उड़ाकर भारत की सरहद के पार भेजना, वहां पोस्ट और बंकर पर कब्जा करके कश्मीर और लद्दाख को जोड़ती कड़ी को तोड़ना। द्रास सेक्टर की मुश्को घाटी, मारपोला रिज लाइन, कारगिल के आसपास काक्सर, बटालिक सेक्टर, चोर बाटला सेक्टर और सियाचिन के दक्षिण में तुर्तुक पर पाकिस्तानी फौज ने धोखे से अपना कब्जा जमा लिया था। लेफ्टिनेंट सौरभ कालिया की अगुवाई में निकली पेट्रोलिंग पार्टी बड़े रहस्यमय ढंग से गायब हो गई थी। कुछ दिनों के बाद उनका क्षत विक्षत शव पाकिस्तानी सेना ने हमें सौंपा। जिस निर्दयता से उन्हें मारा गया था, प्रशिक्षित पाकिस्तानी फौजियों की ही कुचेष्टा थी।
तत्कालीन प्रधानमंत्री श्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी पड़ोसी देशों के साथ सद्भावना में विश्वास रखते थे, पर पाकिस्तान के इस छुपकर हमला करने की साजिश से वो अत्यंत क्षुब्ध हो उठे।
हम शांति चाहते हैं, ये तो दुनिया ने देखा। अब दुनिया ये देखेगी कि हम शांति की रक्षा के लिए और अपनी शक्ति का भी प्रदर्शन कर सकते हैं। लड़ाई के परिणाम के बारे में भी मेरे मन में कोई संदेह नहीं है। हमारी विजय निश्चित है और हम विजयी होकर दिखाएंगे।
उन्होंने देश की तीनों सेनाओं को बगैर एक पल गवाए दुश्मन की गोली का जवाब गोलों से देने का आदेश सुनाया।
तो भारतीय सेना ने तुरंत एक्शन लेते हुए युद्ध का ऐलान कर दिया। चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ जनरल वीपी मलिक के नेतृत्व में लड़ी गई कारगिल की जंग अपने आप में सैनिक रणनीति और साहस का एक उदाहरण है। ऑपरेशन का नाम था ऑपरेशन विजय। थल सेना दुश्मन को खदेड़ रही थी, अब आसमान से आग बरसाने की पारी थी। वर्तमान वायुसेना प्रमुख विंग कमांडर बीएस धनोआ कारगिल युद्ध के दौरान फाइटर स्क्वाड्रन के कमांडिंग ऑफिसर थे। स्क्वाड्रन लीडर अजय आहूजा, के नचिकेता और स्क्वाड्रन लीडर रघुनाथ नाम्बियार जैसे दिलेर फाइटर पायलट भी कारगिल के हवाई हमलों में नायक के तौर पर उभरे। नाम दिया गया ऑपरेशन सफेद सागर। इसी दौरान भारतीय नौसेना भी सक्रिय हो उठी। वाइस एडमिरल माधवेंद्र सिंह की अगुवाई में पूर्वी और पश्चिमी बेड़े एकत्रित हुए और तुरंत उत्तरी अरब सागर से कराची बंदरगाह की घेराबंदी कर दी गई। भारतीय नौसेना के इस मिशन का नाम था ऑपरेशन तलवार। इतिहास बदलने जा रहा था।
वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम। और रुख मोड़ दिए तूफानों के, चट्टानों को धूल बनाया है। दुश्मन हमको ना भूलेगा, उसे ऐसा सबक सिखाया है।
Joshi on the radio said, after the another bunker was captured, my company's success की नवाज ये दिल मांगे मोर।
चाहे आंधी चले तूफान उठे, बढ़ता ही रहे तू रुके नहीं। जब तक है फलक, जब तक है जमीन, मेरा दिल ये कहे कभी झुके नहीं। बस लहराए तिरंगा,
अगर मुझे अपने खून को साबित करने से पहले मौत आ गई तो कसम से मैं मौत को ही मौत की नींद सुला दूंगा।
कारगिल का ये युद्ध भले ही उच्च अधिकारियों की विस्तृत प्लानिंग और रणनीति के अनुसार लड़ा गया हो, लेकिन इसे जीतने वाले औसत 20 से 25 साल की उम्र के वो नौजवान सैनिक ही थे जो शेरों की तरह दुश्मन पे टूट पड़े। ये वो बेटे थे जिन्हें अपनी मां के आत्मसम्मान की चिंता अपनी जान से कहीं ज्यादा थी। पूरे विश्व पटल पर भारतीय विजय का डंका बजने लगा। आज हमारा भारत विश्व में एक नई शक्ति बन के उभर रहा है। कारगिल की ये विजय उस नए भारत की नींव का पत्थर है, क्योंकि इस युद्ध में बही खून की हर एक बूंद ने हमारे आज को सींचा है। वही खून प्रेरणा देता है, बढ़ो आगे, मत रुको, पूरी शक्ति सहित निर्भयता से हर असंभव पहाड़ इसी तरह जीत लो। सीने में जो भारत भूमि के प्रति प्रेम है वो पूर्ण प्रज्वलित हो। जब संपूर्ण विश्व के शीर्ष शिखर पर भारत का ध्वज फहराएगा, तब मेरे देशवासियों हर दिन विजय दिवस कहलाएगा।
मां भारती के लिए बलिदान देने वालों की याद में निर्मित राष्ट्रीय समर स्मारक उन्हें समर्पित है। देश के लिए जीवन लगा देने वाले, जिंदगी खपा देने वाले, जिए भी तो देश के लिए, मरे तो भी देश के लिए, जिए तो भी तिरंगे के लिए, मरे तो भी तिरंगा ओढ़ करके, ऐसे हर किसी को मैं आज नमन करता हूं, प्रणाम करता हूं, आपसे आवाहन करता हूं। आइए मेरे साथ बोलिए, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, वंदे 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 वंदे
वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम। और रुख मोड़ दिए तूफानों के, चट्टानों को धूल बनाया है। दुश्मन हमको ना भूलेगा, उसे ऐसा सबक सिखाया है। बढ़ता ही रहे, तू रुके नहीं, जब तक है फलक, जब तक है जमी, मेरा दिल ये कहे कभी झुके नहीं। बस यूं ही लहराए तिरंगा, लहराए तिरंगा, बस यूं ही लहराए तिरंगा। वंदे मातरम।
Now I invite our UG student Akshat Singh at AIDSS, who is going to cover a very significant Battle of Kargil operation, and that is Battle of Tololing, which has changed the course of Kargil operations. Akshat, please.
For how can a man die better than facing fearful odds? For the ashes of his father and the temple of his gods, touching the sky with glory. Ladies and gentlemen, today as we gather here to commemorate the Kargil Vijay Divas, we pay tribute to the indomitable spirit of our brave soldiers who valiantly fought to defend the sovereignty of our nation. It is a day to honor their supreme sacrifice and unwavering dedication in the face of adversity. Among the many heroic battles fought during the Kargil conflict, the Battle of Tololing stands as a shining testament to the courage and resilience of our armed forces. The Kargil conflict of 1999 was a stark reminder of the ever-present threat to our nation's security and territorial integrity. Toluling, a strategically important peak in the Dras sector of Jammu and Kashmir, witnessed some of the fiercest and bloodiest battles during the Kargil War. It was the first major objective of the Indian forces, and its capture was vital to regaining control over the region. Our soldiers faced a formidable enemy entrenched in the high mountainous terrain, well equipped with modern weaponry. Despite the challenging conditions, our troops displayed remarkable determination and professionalism as they took on the enemy, inch by inch, in a battle that was characterized by intense hand-to-hand combat. The Battle of Toluling was not just a test of military prowess, but also a testament to the unyielding spirit of our soldiers. They demonstrated unparalleled courage and camaraderie, keeping the flame of patriotism burning bright in their hearts. Each soldier knew that the cost of failure was not just measured in territorial losses, but also in the lives of their comrades in arms. As we remember the sacrifices made by our soldiers during the Battle of Toluling, we must also recognize the unwavering support and determination of their families. Behind every brave soldier, there stood a family that endured sleepless nights, hoping and praying for the safe return. Their sacrifices and courage in facing uncertainty deserve our utmost respect and gratitude. The Battle of Toluling holds valuable lessons for all of us. It reminds us of the importance of preparedness, in vigilance, and unity in safeguarding our nation's borders. It teaches us that freedom and peace are never free, and that we must remain resolute in the face of any adversity that challenges our sovereignty. The Toluling peak dominated over the Srinagar-Leh highway, NH1D, which is a vital link. Many of the Indian Army losses had to do with the nature of the terrain, as World War I style frontal charges had to be mounted to dislodge the intruders and reclaim the peaks. The 3-week assault finally culminated with India taking control of the peak and changing the course of the war. Today, as we remember the sacrifices of our heroes, let us renew our commitment to uphold the ideals they fought for. Let us pledge to stand united as a nation, to cherish our hard-earned freedom, and to protect our motherland at all costs. In conclusion, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the brave soldiers who fought in the Battle of Toluling, and to all the warriors who laid down their lives in the line of duty. Their courage, valor, and sacrifice shall forever inspire generations to come. On this Kargil Vijay Divas, let us remember and honor them with the promise that we will strive to be worthy of their sacrifices. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Akshat, for your discourse on the Battle of Toluling, which has been very engrossing and informative. Let me now welcome Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Kumar Pandey. He has served the Indian Air Force for more than 3 decades. He has experience of more than 2,500 air combats. In the course of his service, he undertook air defense operations in the Western, Jammu and Kashmir, and Northeast sectors. As a part of Air Staff inspection at Air Headquarters, he inspected and audited air defense operations at various Air Force stations, including AWACS. He commanded 6 air defense units and was awarded Best Unit trophies twice. He was Director Air Staff Inspection and retired as Director Joint Control and Analysis Center. He was commended by CAS and AOC in Seas of Western Air Command and Southwestern Air Command. He was a professor at the School of Business Aviation Management at Galgotias University. He has written research papers for journals and websites. Presently, he is Senior Fellow at Center for Air Power Studies, CAPS, New Delhi. May I now request Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Kumar Pandey to kindly enlighten the audience with his talk on air operations during Kargil War. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Devani, for nice words. At outset, I would like to convey my gratitude to Founder Amity, Chancellor Amity, Vice Chancellor of Amity, DG AIDSS, Professor and Doctor AIDSS, and Team Amity for giving me this opportunity to interact with Amity. Let's discuss the air operations in Kargil War. The Kargil Vijay Divas is widely celebrated for the trump of the Indian Armed Forces, primarily due to its focus on air and land-based warfare. The significance of the Indian Air Force's involvement in Kargil War is of utmost importance. During the 1990s, the Indian Army and Indian Air Force faced significant challenges conducting military operations in the Himalayas due to concealed intruders at high altitude peaks. Operation Safed Sagar, as the air operations in the Kargil area were called, was a milestone in the history of military aviation, as this was the first time air power was employed in such an environment. The area of Pak intrusion is shown on the screen. The intrusion was about 20 kilometers from line of control. The pre-IAF airstrike buildup is also shown. The number of intruders at various locations can be seen. This deployment is a reflection of 6 to 14th May 1999 on that area. High altitude operations always come with challenges like severe degradation of aircraft and weapon performance. A crucial factor in aircraft performance at high altitude is the reserve of power available, which for the MiG and Mirage fleets was a strong point in their favor. Due to the very different attributes of the atmosphere, even weapons do not perform as per sea level specifications. Variations in air temperature and density, altering drag indices, and a host of other factors which have never been calculated by any OEM for this type of altitude cause weapons to go off their mark. For the same reasons, normally reliable computerized weapon aiming devices also give inaccurate results. For example, in the plains, a 1,000-pounder bomb landing 25 yards away from the target would still severely disable it, if not flatten it. In the mountains, however, a miss of few yards would be as good as the proverbial mile due to the undulating terrain and masking effects. In addition, due to the variation in elevation, the miss would be greatly magnified in the linear dimension, further exaggerating the inaccuracy of the weapon and delivery. While this would lead to apparent inaccuracies in weapon delivery, there is thus a need for pinpoint accuracy in conditions where that very attribute is severely degraded by factors mentioned above. While there was a considerable pressure from outside the IAF to operate only attack helicopters, Mi-35 was capable of operating up to 10,000 feet only. Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal A.Y. Tipnis convinced the government that fighter action was required to create a suitable environment for helicopter operations. Now, let's see what Operation Safed Sagar consisted. 11th May, the IAF was first approached for air support using Heptas as the Pakistan's army infantry units under the facade of terrorists and intruders captured the heights of Kargil. 14th May, CAS had a secret discussion with the top officials. 21st May, the Air Force first Canberra aircraft was launched for recce mission in the Batalic sector, and the pictures received from this mission showed the fortified bunkers and intruders in large numbers with high-power weapons. The Cabinet Committee on Security authorized the IAF on 25th May to mount attacks on the infiltrators without crossing the LOC. This has to be noted, without crossing the LOC. 26th May 1999, the IAF launched the Operation Safed Sagar. Air operations led to the degradation of the enemy's ability to remain in fine metal. Let's see various airstrikes that altered the course of the conflict. The IAF got major setbacks by losing a MiG-17, MiG-27, correction, it is MiG-21, MiG-27 and Mi-17 in operations. This indicated the need to change the tactics. That was when IAF played its trump card. The airstrike by fighter jet Mirage on .5140 were carried out on 7th June. 13th June, airstrike on Tololing Ridge Complex in the Batalic sector was conducted. Mirage 2000 missions dropped 24 into 250 kg bombs on the snowbound Munthot Dalo on 16th June, having the main admin and logistic camps in the Batalic sector. More than 300 Pakistani casualties were recorded. A total of 70 tents and their accompanying stores were destroyed. This significantly undermined the morale and resolve of the opposing forces. Logistic camp at .4388 in Mishko Valley was struck on 23rd June. One of the noteworthy instances of air power utilization during the Kargil war involved the airstrike on Tiger Hill. This prominent peak had been seized by Pakistani infiltrators, enabling them to effectively monitor and engage in artillery shelling on National Highway 1A, the crucial road connecting Srinagar to Leh. On June 24th, the IAF launched a precision strike on Pakistani positions using laser-guided bombs dropped by Mirage 2000 fighter jets. These attacks resulted in the successful destruction of the enemy supply chain. the Pakistani infiltrators were forced to abandon their position at the peak. A total of 37 Pakistanis were killed and 9 tentage stores were destroyed. 26th June 1999, the conflict officially ended when India declared victory after successful regaining control of all the territories that Pakistani infiltrators had occupied. Total of 7,631 sorties were flown. Then we had 42 fighter squadrons in 1999, but only 90 aircraft were deployed, 45 in Valley, while 45 out of the Valley. Fighters flew about 1,730 sorties. Out of that, 1,643 were day and night operations were conducted, where 87 sorties were conducted. Helicopters conducted about 2,500 sorties, while transport fleet did maximum about 3,427 sorties. In active Pakistan operations, a Paki code name for Kargil operation was given Operation Kohib-e-Paima. PAF did not play any significant role in the Kargil war, primarily due to the mountainous terrain of the conflict zone, which was non-conducive to their air operations. Additionally, PAF was not equipped for high-altitude warfare and likely would have faced heavy losses if it had attempted to intervene. The negative part of any war consists of casualties, injuries, and damages. India faced, already quoted by Vice Chancellor, 527. This is official data. Pakistan figures were always, there was confusion. Although 700 was a partial assessment given by US Department of State, while Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has quoted in one of the talks that it was about 2,700 to 4,000. Later, Pakistan officially declared about 453 for their local population consumption, so that psychologically they can see they were above. The aircraft losses we have already seen. MiG-27 on 27th May, this was a flight in Nachiketa trying for a second attempt to strike the target. Well, engine seized and finally aircraft crashed. He safely ejected. MiG-21, which was launched to pinpoint fix the location where ejection has taken place or where where aircraft has landed. That was by Skone Thapar, which had technical snag, and finally Thapar was could eject and he was shot by the Pakistanis. 28th May 1999, one of the 4 Mi-17 attacking the enemy at peak 5140 was lost after successfully attacking the enemy in the Dras sector. Squadron R-Punji, Flight Weapon S. Mohilan, Sergeant R.K. Sahu, and Sergeant P.V. N.R. Prasad were martyred in the same Mi-17. One of the 4 Mi-17 attacking at peak was lost in Dras sector. The IF encountered numerous challenges and constants, like navigating through elevated terrains, the imperative to refrain from breaching the line of control, and the need to operate amidst adverse meteorological circumstances. Notwithstanding these formidable challenges, the IF exhibited remarkable valor, ingenuity, and professionalism in executing various missions. Let's see what are the innovations which were undertaken. Modification of laser-guided weapons was the most attractive one. These pods were modified to accommodate 1,000-kilogram bombs of World War II vintage, which were stored for already number-plated Ajit aircraft. Mirages fired LGB bombs for the first time after quick modification on the aircraft. Mind it was just done after the launch of the Operation Safed Sagar. Evolving optimal firing parameters for rockets and firearms at extreme altitude necessitates a meticulous process of discerning remote mountain peaks that closely mirror the elevation of adversary strongholds. Subsequently, conducting live firing trials in such environments enabled the acquisition of invaluable data to refine and enhance the efficacy of these armaments. Such operations at the altitude of 80,000 was not conducted across the globe. Exploiting using laser designator was also undertaken. These designator were affixed to MiG-29 aircraft to guide ordnance deployed by Mirage 2000 fighter jets. Implementing this innovative technique significantly augmented the precision and efficacy of the strikes. Lightning pods planned to be inducted in 2002, that is after the Safed Sagar, or so on Mirage 2000 aircraft for target acquisition, and the subsequent deployment of precision guided munitions was added. This marked the inaugural instance wherein the IF employed cutting-edge targeting system during combat operations. The Kargil War was a significant event in the history of India-Pakistan relations, as it marked one of the most intense and deadly conflicts between the two nations since their independence in 1947. National war is a joint effort to be fought not only by all the wings of defense services, but equally involves civil administration and all other participants. Air power is a strategic and decisive instrument. It is not escalatory, as people think. IAF, Indian Army, and Indian Navy cannot fight any war in isolation. Joint operations are vital. The Kargil War also highlighted the need for IAF and other armed forces to modernize and upgrade its equipment and capabilities. As India was surprised by Pakistan's aggression, Kargil, the government of India quickly constituted, as already quoted by General Gadog, the Kargil Review Committee, headed by late K. Subramaniam, a well-known and respected military strategist. It was crystal clear that it was a significant failure of intelligence. The KRC report highlighted several great deficiencies in India's security management system, particularly in intelligence, border management, and defense management. The armed forces and intelligence mechanism must be equipped with a state-of-the-art system for better productivity. Atmanirbharta must be a priority, but with Bharat Nirbharta, that is with 100% indigenization. There is an urgent need to strengthen the capabilities regarding intelligence gathering, analyzing, sharing, and taking follow-up action on these recommendations. The scope of training must be reviewed and revised regularly based on varying threat perceptions. Night operations were successfully conducted, which added the psychological pressure being applied to the Pakistanis who had not anticipated round-the-clock air attacks. Priority is to be given to joint night operations training. Engaging in a limited conventional conflict without escalation to the nuclear level is also possible. No nuclear escalation was observed, but war was fought. The failure of the nuclear deterrent in this case prompted a rethinking of nuclear doctrine. The significance of Indian Air Force involvement in Kargil War was at most importance. IAF maintained air superiority adjacent to most of the LOC, but SAMs posed a persistent threat. Same needs to be factored in the planning. KRC has mentioned that air-derived intelligence might have been addressed more if air power had been found wanting. India's national surveillance capability was grossly inadequate, particularly in satellite and other imagery acquisitions. The Kargil experience was significant in crystallizing the Indian approach to the exploitation of air power. Overall, air power played a vital role in the Kargil War, allowing India to gain a significant advantage over Pakistan and ultimately prevail in the conflict. The conflict was therefore a turning point in the history of aviation warfare, an operation that will no doubt be discussed in air warfare studies by all. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, and optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. This was said by Western culture. Let's move to the together and touch the sky with clarity. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Kumar Pandey, for sharing your insightful knowledge, which is extremely educative and most stimulating. We would now have the customary vote of thanks. For that, I invite Colonel Dr. Rajan Bakshi. He is a veteran and served for 36 years in the Army. Presently, he is the Director of Amity Center for Defense and Strategic Analysis, Associate Professor at Amity Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies, and also the Deputy Commandant Amity Institute of Education and Training. Colonel Dr. Rajan Bakshi, sir, please.
Let's see, बाहर आवाज आ रहा है. Thank you, Devyani. Thank you very much. Kargil War displayed the strength, the resolve, and the solidarity of Indians as the whole nation stood as one, supporting our defense forces to accomplish the mission of evicting Pakistani army intruders. In this operation, 527 gallant soldiers laid down their lives and 1,363 were wounded. I quote, "Our flag does not fly because of the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it," unquote. We will always remain indebted to the supreme sacrifice made by our defense forces, protecting the borders and integrity of our great nation. On this auspicious day, we bow to pay our obeisance and gratitude. Celebration of Kargil Vijay Divas and paying befitting tribute to our gallant heroes has been possible because of the great motivation we received from our venerable founder, President Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan, and Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, and we are deeply thankful to them. We are also thankful to our guest panelist, Major General Rajiv Nanda, and Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Kumar Pandey, for their valuable insight into Kargil land and air operations. I also thank and appreciate the AIDSS student panelists Diksha Jain and Akshat Singh for their insightful talk on war heroes of Kargil and Battle of Tololing. We are profoundly thankful to Lieutenant General Dr. S.K. Gariot, Director General AIDSS and ACDSA, for his special address and whose guidance has been of immense value. I thank Brigadier Dr. Anand Kumar Tiwari, Director AIDSS, for his welcome address. I also thank our PhD scholar, Devyani Sharma, who orchestrated this important event with perfect coordination. I also thank the coordinating staff, IT support staff, who have made it possible to commemorate Kargil Vijay Divas in a befitting manner. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Colonel Dr. Rajan Bakshi, for having got this whole act together. I think you were the chief architect under Brigadier Tiwari. And I must compliment the HOI, AIDSS, Brigadier Anand Tiwari, because he has taken tremendous interest and has been in touch with me for this particular seminar for the past couple of days. I'm very grateful to you, Anand. Just keep the flag flying of AIDSS, and each one of you, especially General Rajiv Nanda. It was very interesting, all the statistical details and the facts which you furnished about this particular operation were having a valid endorsement, in fact, not only from the strategists, but also defense analysts. So my compliment goes to you. And of course, Group Captain Dr. Dinesh Pandey from CAPS. I don't think so. I've read so much in detail about air operations as what Dinesh has told us today. That was absolutely exemplary, Dinesh. Let me tell you, when you go back to CAPS, do convey my very thoughtful appreciation to Air Marshal Anil Chopra, and do convey my gratitude for having allowed you to participate with us and having given a feather in our cap, that is, in as far as the air operations are concerned. Tremendous amount of detail, which was, I think, very captivating and enlightening to each one of us, especially me and the student fraternity. I would also like to thank, of course, Devyani for having picked up the gauntlet. She is a PhD student doing a doctoral program with us, and a guide is Dr. Saurabh Sharma with us, who's Associate Professor, AIDSS, and of course, Akshat and the young lady, Deepika. Deepika or
Diksha, sir.
Diksha. Okay. So Diksha and Akshat, well done. I think both of you would get a certificate for having participated in this seminar from Colonel Dr. Rajan Bakshi. And this would go a long way in as far as making your credentials and your CV more consummate. Each one of you, my gratitude, and of course, to the founder president, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, who happens to be the founder president of the Amity Education Group, the Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, and she spoke her heart out today, as you witnessed, as to in how much detail she went. It only goes to show that the armed forces are getting their rightful place under the sun. We follow the policy of Lebensraum. get enriched, enlightened, and empowered. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A job very well done. My heartfelt compliments to each one of you. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pandey sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nanda sir. Thanks a lot. It has been an honor that you are all on board. Thanks a lot.